Here, we're going to be doing a continued reaction to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Episode 5, the Turnabout one. Since this is going to be like over an hour, this time I'm going to only cut it in half because it's hard to put clips and all the thing, and it takes forever to figure out what the good spots to add clips to the videos. This is by Lord Band. Please like and subscribe to them. And let's just get to the video. Ethria, Etua, and the Wonder.
Hey, Nick?
Yeah? What's on your mind, Maya?
I've been thinking about the case. We've gone from alleged murder to suicide, and now this. It's pretty crazy.
I agree. I certainly wasn't expecting us to go from no suicide note to 2 in the span of a single trial.
Not to
I wonder if
mention
one of them
learning
was
about the
made
mysterious incident that
by
happened 4
someone
years
else.
ago. What do you make of it, Nick?
It's hard to say for now, but it's definitely connected to the case. We need to get to the bottom of it before tomorrow's trial. It's our last chance to
It's
learn
funny, I wear a
the truth.
steampunk hat, but
Yeah,
I'm not a
we
steampunk
must
person.
give 110%. But how should we proceed?
We follow the leads we have. Mike clearly knows something, and I'm willing to bet he's not the only one. However, I don't think any of them will be jumping at the chance to share the story with us.
What about the 2 suicide notes? I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
One's probably a
It's
fake.
far too early to theorize, but it's definitely rubbing me the wrong way. We'll have to stay sharp during the investigation.
We made it through today's trial by the skin of our teeth. I just hope we have enough time to
Teeth
find
doesn't
everything
have
we
skin.
need. Speaking of today's trial, that was some mighty impressive bluffing back there.
In hindsight, it may not have been my finest moment,
I didn't know he was
but
bluffing.
at least it gave us enough time for the new evidence to arrive.
I think it may have cost us most of the judge's patience, though. I doubt he or Francisco will let you get away with any more wild theories without solid evidence on the last day of the trial.
Noted. However, I still think there's more to Harvey and Victoria's relationship than we know. We should look into that as well.
I think
We need
Victoria's
to
the
take
eye
a moment
patch
to
chick.
clear our heads and reflect.
Like I said, I'm really bad at
Excuse
remembering
me,
people.
Mr. Wright? Miss Faye?
Oh, hi there. What's up, bailiff?
Good to see you're still here. The prosecution has asked me to deliver this to you.
Huh? These are copies of the suicide notes.
Yep, that they are. The judge accepted
I
them
kinda
into
forgot who the
evidence
heck
of
the bailiff
trial,
is.
which means both parties are to be supplied with copies post-haste. So there you go.
Thanks a lot.
I also have a message for you from one Mr. Tennant. He wanted me to let you know that he will be waiting at the regiment gates with some, juicy intel.
Oh yeah, he promised to look into Captain Harvey's
That's good.
past for us.
Thank you, Bailiff. We appreciate letting us know.
Just doing my job, sir. See you tomorrow.
Okay, Nick, time to get to work. Where should we head first?
I think we
Yeah,
should
the
give
last
Mike
video I
some time
made
by
it.
himself.
I had a little copyright
We need
because
some evidence if we
apparently
need to
there's some
confront
music in
anyone.
here that they don't like,
Let's
but
go see
as
what
long as I
Tennant
don't
has
make
for
money
us.
off these videos, I can
Probably
still
a good idea.
post them.
Let's mosey, Nick.
After 2 days in court, we are only beginning to see the
I
true
mean, I don't
nature
really
of
plan
this
to make
case.
any money on YouTube
We
anyway.
cannot afford to waste our last chance to find the truth. We must do our best to uncover what we can of the dark secret from 4 years ago.
Skip all that. On the plus side of me making videos without money, you don't have to worry about those stupid ads popping up all the
Here
goddamn
we
time,
are.
like I have
See
to
the stars
when I read through
anywhere?
these videos.
No, the guard post is empty again. I wonder where he's gone off to this time.
Isn't
I
the
know
guard
one
always
way
supposed to
that
be
will make him
there?
come running.
Just stay away from the fence, Maya. It's not a doorbell.
You're no fun.
I'm sure he's around here somewhere. If we just wait a few minutes, we'll...
Hmm?
Maya? Where do you...
Oh no.
Oh, snap. Please don't tell me.
Oh no.
You're gonna do what I say, or I will put my foot so far up your You will rue the day you crawled out of your mother's.
Is the singer on? 1, 2, testing. Okay, good.
You dumb woman.
Back to your post immediately. Thank you. Also, the Steel Samurai rules. That is all. Have a nice day. That ought to do it.
I'm never, ever letting you out of my sight again.
Don't say
How
that.
old is she?
It's
Come
me.
on.
He should be here faster than we can say.
Maggots!
Yes, and now he's angrier than a hive of killer bees. Oh boy.
Do you have any idea what you just did, Missy? You announced to the entire regiment that I was AWOL from my post! Captain Renard is going to have my ass for this!
Well then, don't leave your goddamn
Here,
post.
so, really? It's your own fault.
Well, maybe if you had shown up a couple minutes earlier, I wouldn't have thought I had the time to attend to other things.
And what exactly was so important that you had to leave the front gates of the regiment unattended yet again?
I was looking for the medal I lost a few days ago. Losing one of my babies is the worst thing that can happen. But that's beside the point now. I still have some more venting to do.
Ugh. At least he's not making us do push-ups again.
That's the last time I trust a lawyer. I promise to help you out, and what do I get for my trouble? You suspect me of bombing Harvey, make me lose all the progress I had toward my diligent guard duty badge, and claim that Sissy Samurai is the greatest hero of them all? I don't know which one's the worst.
Sissy Samurai? Who could possibly be a greater hero than the warrior of Neo-O Tokyo?
You really even gotta ask? The Nickel Samurai, of course. Hands down, any day of the week.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Without the Steel Samurai, there wouldn't even be a Nickel Samurai.
Clearly you have no taste in your Saturday morning
Kind of
television.
sounds like when
Everything is
women
better
used
than
to argue about the
Nickel.
Twilight
Storyline
series,
villains
about
provides
who's the
some
sexiest
forced
guy,
relationship between Nickel and
the
Sayo.
vampire dude or the werewolf
Nickel
dude.
and Sayo? Are you out of your mind? She's so obviously in love with Nickel's brother, Aluminum.
I've only seen the last
Can't you
episode
get the
of,
hints at all?
or the last
Nickel
movie
and
of the
Sayo make
Twilight.
best pair. End of story.
Well, your opinion is wrong.
Two adults getting into a fight over fictional relationships in children's programming. Now I've seen it all.
You haven't
Besides,
clearly been on the
playing
internet,
Steel
have
Samurai
you?
some sort of crook. I mean, that just gives the hero a bad name.
Sorry to butt into your important debate, but didn't you have information related to the case, Staff Sergeant?
After all you've put me through, I should just keep this intel to myself. But it's just too juicy not to share.
Let me guess, it's a
What
love
do you
thing?
have for us, then?
Captain Harvey's service records, straight from Captain Renard's security office archives. Let me tell you, this info wasn't easy to intercept. Luckily, a guy in the mess hall owed me a favor after I won a bet including a ton of pancakes and pea soup. They may or may not have activated the alarms last night at a remote part of the regiment to lure the old fox out of his hideout. I swear, the cat practically lives in that office. Anyway, he always goes to check things out personally after he's turned the alarms off. So I snuck in and took the documents while I was away. A perfect crime if I do say so myself.
But wouldn't you be caught on security cameras?
The only cameras are along the roads, and I know exactly where each of them is located. Comes in handy at times, especially when you need to sneak off for a quick snack at the mess hall.
If they awarded medals for avoiding work, Sergeant Slacker here would clearly have them all.
Besides, it'd be kind of redundant to have the security office monitor itself, wouldn't it?
Touché.
What about the key card logs, though?
Oh, crap. Let's just hope nobody notices,
So much for that perfect crime.
How come you have access to the security office? I'd imagine that it requires quite the high clearance level.
Oh, I've had access since the old security chief gave it to me like 5 years ago. Apparently he got so fed up with how often I wanted to check my records that he decided adding my card to the security office access list was the easiest way out. Captain Renard hasn't had a reason to remove it. Yet. Good thing I still have it, too. Ever since Renard became the security chief, he immediately confiscated a spare key to the security office because of privacy and security reasons. Now, do you want me to blabber on about the hoops I had to go through to get these files, or hear what's actually in them?
The latter, please.
Right, let's get down to business. Have either of you heard of a place called Aresia?
I vaguely recall the name. I believe it's a country in Eastern Europe.
Sure is. Not sure if you remember, but 4 years back it was a stage for a destructive civil war. Things got so bad that the Allied nations had to intervene. So under the AN's mandate, a coalition of nations, us included, sent troops to help stabilize the situation. After they opened fighting and seized, the coalition troops began to withdraw and get replaced by peacekeepers. Thus, it became a peacekeeping mission known as Operation Aegis, which officially ended only recently, just last month. It was also the last field mission Harvey served in. Have a look here.
Operation Aegis Mission Debriefing. Name, Janice Harvey. Rank, Captain. Unit, 1st Special Engineering Company.
Alright.
Mission objectives for Unit. Clearing and securing mountain roads and highway tunnels in North Eurasia. Field testing of equipment. Mission status. Aborted due to excessive casualties. Survivors awarded with the Dove of Fidelity. And suspended from field duty pending investigation. Conclusion. Reassigned to other duties in the Allied Nations Regiment in Angeles Bay with other survivors. To be placed under surveillance for involvement in the Helios 6 incident.
Okay.
The Helios 6 incident? This could be what the suicide notes were referring to.
Is there anything you know about that incident, Sergeant?
Afraid not. I keep my ear to the ground whenever I can, but this has been kept tightly under wraps. Hell, if I didn't even know that Harvey had the Dove, how should I know what he did to deserve it? Now, I never personally set foot on Eurasian soil, but I'm not surprised to hear Harvey did. To explain how he got his hands on his precious bottle of booze.
How in the heck are those two connected?
From what the old rockface once said, Eurasian spirits are considered super fancy in some circles. Problem is, they don't want to export, so the only way to get your hands on them is to fetch them personally. Obviously, the limited supply was effectively cut off by the Civil War, so prices skyrocketed.
What's so special about it anyway?
Hell if I know. The only thing I can
Maybe
is the
it's
bottle
the
itself.
alcohol content?
It's sealed with an iron plug, and basically the neck of the bottle must be broken to get to the good stuff. I saw Harvey struggling to open it on Absolution Day when I was heading out.
So you noticed the bottle of spirits, but not the Dove of Fidelity.
That's assuming Harvey was wearing it. He wasn't, and I don't fault him for it. He probably had it in his pocket or something.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Any opinion on the 2 suicide notes?
Well, I've never heard of a suicide with 2 different notes. Maybe he couldn't decide which to go with? I don't know. The handwriting looks real enough to me.
What about the list of names on the other note?
Other than the obvious one, none of them ring a bell. So what do you think? I did pretty good, huh?
Staff Sergeant Tennant, I appreciate the lengths you've gone to get us this information, but we can't use the service record as evidence.
What? Why the hell not?
Did you take a look at the file? This information is marked confidential. In other words, this is illegal evidence of the highest order.
Really?
Uh-oh.
My records certainly aren't confidential.
Then someone clearly wants to keep this information a secret.
So if we use this in court,
We'll be the next one sitting in the defendant's chair.
I put my ass on the line just to get into more trouble? Son of a... I even made copies for you! So if Renard catches me with any of these files, he'll put me in front of a court-martial, and that's gonna be the end of old Lou. And he's probably heading here to drill me about that intercom incident. This is all your fault!
oh dear, I didn't mean...
Not really.
Cut it, Missy. We ain't got the time. Now it's time for Operation Saving Sergeant Tennant. Here's the plan. You take these damn documents off me and return the originals back to the filing cabinet of the security office. I'll give you my key card. Just remember to return the damn thing to me when you come back. I suspect I won't be leaving this damn guard post anytime soon. You'll do this for me, right?
I guess we are partially to blame. We'll take care of it.
Great. Then take these.
I wonder if they'll find
we
something
don't know
new.
where the security office is.
It's due north from the Iron Chamber, but don't use the main path. It has cameras, and you might bump into Captain Renard. There's a shortcut through the woods close to the Iron Chamber that you can use that I found during one of my orienteering runs. It shouldn't take more than 20 minutes to get to the security office using that if you hurry. I'll mark it on your map.
Okay, shouldn't be too hard.
Now go, go, go!
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 la 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 la. Dun.
I guess that jog takes care of our daily exercise.
Yeah, some shortcut that was.
Finally a new
It's a
place.
little trail going through the woods. Anyway, looks like we're all clear. The fox has left his hole. There wasn't a soul in the lobby either. It's so creepy. You'd think they'd have someone keep an eye out on the key card printer they have there.
You would
Suppose
think.
they're counting on rank authorization to prevent misuse. Anyway, let's work fast. No amount of bluffing will save us if we're caught red-handed with these files.
But we really shouldn't waste this opportunity, Nick. Let's take a quick look around.
I'd love to, but there's no time. We need to leave as soon as possible. Now, where's that filing cabinet?
Over
There
there?
it is.
To the left?
Great. Let's just return the files and be on our merry way.
Do you have a key to open it?
Looks like
Yep,
we have
that's what I thought.
tiny little problem. The thing's locked.
You've gotta be kidding me.
You'd think Sergeant Tennant would have mentioned that little detail, huh?
Well,
Everybody
can't
knows
leave the files lying.
cabinets usually have locks on
He
them.
must be somewhere in here. How else could he access the files while Captain Renard was gone? Come on, hurry
Took
up
his
and
key,
look
maybe?
for it.
Already on it! Wow, look at all these screens!
The feed from all the security cameras around the regiment must be shown here. The grid looks pretty extensive. No feed from just outside the Iron Chamber.
How
though.
can anybody look
That's
at
too bad.
all those images? I mean, that'd be hard as hell to do to find something
There's
suspicious.
Detective Gumshoe in the mess hall. Wow, look at him chow down all that free food. He looks so happy.
Easy on those trans fats. Not everything needs gravy. You know, there's some carrots down at the other end. That cheesecake was for everyone.
How can that be free? It's a military
Clearly
food.
he's taking advantage of the opportunity.
And there's the front gate. I can see Captain Renard. And poor Sergeant Tennant.
They seem to be, quite engaged in their conversation. That should hopefully give us plenty of time to find the key.
Huh. This must be the console Captain Renard uses to control the alarms and such. Looks pretty high-tech to me.
Don't
has
touch it.
Those fingerprint pads, and even a built-in phone.
Must be for secure phone calls. Well, what does the note read?
Security protocol. Step 1. Acknowledge and turn off the alarm using the console. Step 2. Investigate the cause for alarm personally. Can't make out Step 3. Step 4. Profit?
Well, it is literally what he gets paid to do.
No key here, though. Maybe check his desk?
He keeps it very tidy, it seems.
I wonder if that phone connects to the Iron Chamber.
What's this? Another one of those key cards, it seems?
Judging by the label on it, it's probably the spare for the security office Tennant told us about.
Interesting. The only other thing here is this note. Important. Remember to purchase more pace okay? Pace okay? Whatever it is, it must be pretty important.
Not to us, though. We need to find the key.
You didn't take it, did you? That card?
Briefcase! How cool!
How so? It's just a briefcase.
Don't
With
you
something
know
inside.
Briefcases always contain exciting stuff, like secret intel or control.
But you're not supposed to look into stuff you're not supposed to look into.
Documents and evidence.
See? Pretty exciting! So, let's see what this one has eaten. Whoa!
Wow. That's a lot of money.
I know! Just imagine how many burgers you could buy with that!
Really?
Not in our usual joint, though. This is definitely foreign currency.
Maybe he won the lottery while abroad.
Perhaps.
Close the case and leave it
Lying
alone.
around like this. I'd put my money in a bank.
That's because you're boring like that, Nick.
If by
Everyone
you mean
puts money in a
like
bank.
every other
It's common
rational
sense.
person on the planet, then I'm guilty as charged. Either way, this is pretty hard to ignore.
Okay, I guess there's nothing else to see here. Let's put the files away.
Oh, you found the key?
Actually, the thing wasn't really locked. I just thought we really should look around.
Maya, you really drive me insane sometimes.
Relax! Renard is still at the front gates. We're fine.
Let's just put the files away and get going.
Done and done.
Alright, off we go. Remember, we were never here.
Now let's hurry and go save poor Staff Sergeant Tennant.
You didn't bother looking through the thing to see if there's anything more useful?
But, sir, I swear I was only trying to cover more ground. I'm sure a man as smart as you understands.
You know as well as I do that the gate guard duty does not work that way, Staff Sergeant. And while I appreciate your flattery, I am afraid there is no medal to be earned for bootlicking. You are a disgrace to your rank and to my regiment, Staff Sergeant. I am afraid I will have to take this issue up with the regiment commander.
Ah, crap.
Please, sir, I swear I'll never make a mistake again. Please, my career's on the line here.
You had one chance, Tenant. I do not run a charity when it comes to gross neglect of one's duties. Perhaps a demotion will teach you to listen to the orders of your superiors more carefully.
Well, that sucks.
So, good day, Misters Tennant and Renard.
That is Captain Renard.
Oh, sorry, Captain.
You certainly have a reason to feel sorry. Your unauthorized use of this regiment's announcement system is in violation of several security protocols. However, I will let it slide this one time, since you did expose this miserable mockery of a guard. Nevertheless, please keep your adjutant in check, Mr. Wright, for I might not feel as generous in the future.
Yes, sir. Could you please lend us a moment of your time, Captain? We have some questions.
Of course. Staff Sergeant,
Yes, sir?
we're not finished. Keep that in mind the next time you contemplate breaking the protocol.
Yes, sir.
He's a
Now then, Mr. Wright.
Renard is
let us
as
begin.
emotionless as Batman.
I've understood that the regiment security forces packed and cataloged all of Captain Harvey's
I like all
belongings.
cartoons. I don't really care much for real shows.
Although I did not have the time to oversee the process personally.
Real life
I
shows.
only went there to inspect the results. All in all, their work was satisfactory, but they could have brought less cardboard boxes. I noticed that some of them were left completely empty.
And so did Maya, the master spy.
I'm sure you have already received the inventory list.
We have, yes. Next, I'd like to ask you about these key cards. We have been told it's possible to delete the logs.
That is true, but it should be noted that it is quite impossible without cooperation from the owner of the particular area. They would first have to authorize the operation by using their fingerprints, you see. It is a generally discouraged practice, only to be used when confidentiality is of utmost importance.
Are you aware that Captain Harvey was misusing the system for his own needs?
Was he? There has been no evidence of anything like that happening.
Oh gee, I wonder why.
So, how do you like your job, Captain?
I don't see how this question contributes to anything relevant.
You
Just
should be
curious.
nice.
It pays the bills. But with subordinates like Tenant, who needs external security risks? Now, back in the Army, we had proper discipline and respect for protocol.
Oh yeah, Lieutenant Victoria mentioned you used to work for the Army.
Yes, I worked for the Army Intelligence up until a few years ago, when I decided to transfer over to the Allied Nations side of things.
And
All
why
right.
was that?
Opportunities opened up for me.
Really? What kind of opportunities?
Is this a murder investigation or an examination of my curriculum vitae? If you're interested in working here, talk to your local recruiter.
Looks like that avenue of information was exhausted quickly.
Honestly, it surprises me how much time has been wasted on a case as clear-cut as this.
Clear cut? I'm sorry, but haven't you been following the trial at all?
No, it simply doesn't interest me.
But you're the security chief. Shouldn't you of all people care?
Updating the security protocols of Absolution Day is already on my table. Unfortunately, murder falls under the jurisdiction of the police force, and that means we have a little girl and people like her shabby lapdog detective running the show. Had I been in charge of the investigation, this matter would have been dealt with a long time ago. In the end, investigating explosion sites in the Army was rather simple.
Well, you should know that Captain Harvey left a suicide note. 2 of them, actually.
2 suicide notes, you say? How peculiar. How very peculiar indeed.
So, still think Mike's behind this?
I fail to see how my opinion is in any way relevant. Although, you've made me curious. Perhaps I will arrange time to come witness your last hurrah after all, just to see where it goes. For now, however, I believe this conversation has lost its relevancy. If there's
This whole
nothing
conversation
else
doesn't seem to
I
be
have
very
heard-
useful.
There is one last thing. What's gonna happen to Sergeant Tennant?
I am a man of my word. He's not going to work here for much longer after I finish my report.
You can't do that to him! He doesn't deserve it!
Typical emotional drivel, willfully ignoring the facts. Allow me to educate you on Battlefield Tactics 101, Miss Fay. There can be no greater fool than one who willingly acts to place himself in an indefensible position before a relentless assault from an enemy. Tennant knew exactly what his actions would amount to if he was caught. Hence, he deserves everything heading his way. Or, are you questioning my authority on the matter?
Well, since you put
Maybe.
it that way, yes!
Do come again?
That's right! I'm not afraid of your self-important bullying! And what are you gonna do about that, huh?
You could have you arrested.
Impudent fool. What makes you think a wretch like you is in any position to criticize me? You're both a waste of my time.
Well then, I think you may have hit a sore spot there, Maya.
You think, huh?
Man, you are either bravely stupid or stupidly brave to oppose Renard to his face. You've got some gall.
It's the least I could do after I got you in all this trouble.
Consider your apology accepted. It was pretty priceless seeing the old fox being told off by a kid.
Hey! I'm 20 years old!
Exactly my point.
Oh, so she's 20,
So anyway,
okay.
I believe you have something in mind?
Oh yes, your card. Here you go.
Thanks, although I don't think I'll be keeping it for very long. Better start prepping my return to the Scouts. For now, I really need to get back to watching the gate. You understand.
Of course. With what we know, I think we may finally be in a position to draw out the truth from Mike.
Let's head to the detention center to see how he's doing then. I hope Mike has had enough time to gather his thoughts.
Me too. I would rather not have this.
Well, let's see if they can actually break some of those
Let's hear
mental
what he has to
chains.
say.
Oh, hello.
Hey there, Mike. How are you holding up?
What do you mean? I've been perfectly alright. Fine as ever.
You know, you don't need to pretend that nothing happened during the trial.
That's because nothing happened. Nothing.
That's not true. Just... why won't you tell us, Mike? Don't you trust us?
Sorry. It just really doesn't matter anymore.
Well, if it doesn't matter, there's no reason to hold out?
You just don't get it. Why do you keep pestering me about this? Why do you think this means anything at all?
I think it's finally time.
Very well, Mike. If that's what it takes, I'll show you why all this is relevant.
Take that!
Alright, here we go. See if we can break those chains.
Mike, I understand this might be painful for you, but we must hear the truth.
Painful? Why would it be painful? I mean, I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
I'm not sure the court record agrees. We saw your reaction to this piece of evidence.
Take that! Harvey's suicide note.
In this version of Captain Harvey's suicide note, he apologized to all of his victims, including November. And you're saying that this has nothing to do with you?
Fine. I was touched by his apology. I mean, after all the crap he put me through, it was good to hear that he at least felt sorry in the end.
If only that were true. However, this letter cannot possibly be referring to you.
And why not?
The suicide note is addressed to people who were in contact with Harvey 4 years ago. You, on the other hand, weren't a part of the Peace Corps until recently.
So then, if Harvey wasn't apologizing for hazing me, then what is this note referring to?
I believe you already know the answer to that question. There was
His
an
father,
incident
maybe?
in Harvey's past that also affected you.
I
Or
don't know
Grandpa?
what you could possibly mean.
I guess I'll have to show you then. This piece of evidence shows what the suicide note is referring to.
Take that! What is that?
Captain Harvey's service record. 4 years ago, he was involved in something called the Helio 6 incident, for which he was awarded the notorious Dove of Fidelity. We need to know what happened, Mike, for the sake of everyone who was involved.
One
Interesting.
more.
First you claim that this note couldn't have possibly been referring to me, but then you proceed to say that I know something about this Helios 6 deal. So which is it?
It's simple. This letter isn't referring to you at all, but based on the last name, we can conclude that you lost a member of your family in that incident.
You can't prove that.
Mike, the Helios 6 incident is the heart of this entire case.
Right?
Come on, Mike. You're the only one who can help us find the truth now.
Charlie, I'm so sorry.
Finally.
Very well, Mr. Wright. I see there's no point in trying to hide it from you. I had a big brother, Charlie,
Brother, okay.
who lost his life during the peacekeeping mission in the Republic of Arisia. He was the best brother I could have ever hoped to have. The kindest and bravest guy, always standing up for those who didn't have the strength or courage to do so themselves. He was a true hero. We couldn't have been more proud when he told us he wanted to become a peacekeeper. My parents and I supported him all the way. All he ever wanted to do was to help those in need. Just like that, he was gone. I remember the day when the news arrived. They told us that there had been an accident. But we had lost Charlie. After that, everything just seemed to fall apart. Like all meaning was gone from the world. It's as if a
That
part of me
sucks.
died that day as well.
I'm so sorry, Mike. There is no greater pain in the world than losing a loved one. To want to grieve is only natural, but they would never want us to give up on life.
I realize that. That's why I've kept on going. For Charlie.
I'm deeply sorry for your loss, Mike. But why did you want to keep this from us?
It's kind of a petty, selfish reason, really. We were told that Charlie had likely been the one to cause the incident. Well, I refused to believe any of it. I was afraid that if I told you, this accusation would become public in a court of law, and then get passed on as the final truth in the Helios 6 incident. I would rather live in uneasy doubt than indict my own brother in the eyes of the public.
Then everyone will assume you
I
were
wanted
the
to know
killer
the truth behind
because
what happened.
his brother
The only way I
died
could
because
get
of
it was
him.
hearing it from someone
Yeah.
I knew for sure to have been in Arisia with Charlie and lived. Captain Janice Harvey. He was mentioned several times in Charlie's letters to us. I had always planned to follow in Charlie's footsteps and become a peacekeeper, but the reason I joined Angela's Bay in specific was to get close to Harvey. He didn't take kindly to have another November under his command, though. He tried everything he could to make me pack my bags and leave, but I persisted. For Charlie's sake.
Why?
That's why I had to see him on Absolution Day. I wanted to know what really caused the Helios 6 incident. It was my last and only chance.
We know that many lives were lost in the incident, but what we don't know is what exactly happened. Could you tell us?
Of course. In his letters, Charlie told us that his company, the First Special Engineering, had been given experimental plastic explosives to field test.
Check it out. I call it Bunker Bustin' Mega Ultra Super. Holy crap!
The code name for the explosive was Helios 6. It was said to be more powerful than C4 or Semtex, yet designed to be extremely safe to use. We were told that on the day of the incident, Charlie had been the sole guard of the explosive depot. When something set off the stored Helios 6, the rest of the company was regrouping near the depot when the explosion happened. I heard only a handful of people survived. I still carry Charlie's final letter to us as my last memento of him. He wrote it on the very day he died.
Could you show it to us?
Of course, just be careful. It's all I have left of him.
How did they not take that from you?
What's this? A drawing?
Oh, yeah, that's Mr. Blast. He was supposed to be our logo of sorts. Charlie designed him.
What's it drawn on? Some sort of file?
I think it's just a cargo manifest ripped from one of the explosives crates.
Why not use regular paper, though?
When inspiration strikes, you have to use what you have on hand, I'd guess. Charlie was always a little quick to jump into action.
Might be useful later.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the photo. So this is your brother.
Yeah, he probably took the photo while guarding the depot.
It looks kind of fake.
It's a safe bet to say that those crates contained explosives.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the whip.
Has anyone told you that you two look so much alike?
No, they don't.
I suppose we do. We used to joke that Charlie got the skills while I got the good looks. Anyway, let me read the letter to you.
Hey, bro. I've been meaning to write you another letter for some time.
Man, it's a long one.
I finally managed to get my rear in gear to do just that. Things have been alright here, with the exception of Captain Harvey being the pain in the ass he always is. Seriously, what's his problem? I overheard him arguing over some delivery with some officer I didn't know. He wasn't wearing AN colors either. Maybe the army had a mix-up or something? I don't know. It just seems strange to me. Anyway, just last week we managed to clear the collapsed tunnels leading to this isolated village in the mountains. Our folks have been trapped there for weeks. The look of gratitude on their faces made me truly feel that I have chosen the right path for myself. Despite the insurgent activity in our region, if we all keep working hard enough, I wager I'll be back home by Christmas. Speaking of which, I'll enclose an early gift to you since I'm on guard duty at the depot today. It's a piece of the new compound we've been testing from our last batch. Yours, Charlie.
Wait, your brother sent you a piece of plastic explosive in the mail?
Well,
That
I guess
could be
it's a
the
little
murder
strange
weapon.
when you say it like that. Unfortunately, nothing like that was enclosed with the letter. But the letter hadn't been opened either. I guess he just didn't get the chance.
That's the first time I've heard anyone complain they didn't get an explosive in the mail. Also, note to self, bill this one electronically. Be on the safe side.
So, Mike, there's one more important question we'd like to hear an answer to. What exactly happened between you and Harvey on Absolution Day?
It is as I've said. I left for the Iron Chamber at lunchtime and found Harvey in his office.
Who is it?
November. I want to talk about the Helio 6 incident in Charlie. It's time for absolution, Harvey.
Charlie, November. Back from the dead to haunt me.
What? It was surreal. Harvey was rambling on like a madman and I couldn't get a word in. You can imagine how frustrating it was to me. And then the phone call came.
What? Yeah, the sobs here.
But the conversation included more than I first told you. Something that Captain Harvey said.
Yeah. Hell called. They want you to go back to your post, November. Get out of my sight, or I'll send you back there myself. Again.
What do you say?
Burn in hell, Charlie November.
That's horrible.
I knew it. After all those years, my suspicions were confirmed. Charlie was never to blame. Captain Harvey was the one who killed my brother, and all those other peacekeepers. He admitted it to my face.
What happened after that?
I don't know. I lost it. The next thing I remember was my hand gripping the kill switch that I had pulled.
Focus, Mike. This is important. Did you hit Captain Harvey after that?
I don't know. I would tell you if I could, honest. All I wanted was to find the truth, but I wasn't expecting that. They were gonna give that slimy bastard legal immunity.
Wait. Legal immunity?
That's right. The Helio 6 case was never closed, but as the peace mission in Arisia was nearing its end, the AN commanders wanted closure at any cost. They would even absolve Harvey if only he would tell them what they wanted to hear, so they could wash their own hands of the Helio 6 incident.
How could you know this, Mike? That sounds like extremely confidential information.
And perhaps Harvey shouldn't have flaunted the letter he received with all its details to Lieutenant Victoria and the rest of the regiment staff. He might as well have handed out flyers saying, "I'm guilty of mass murder," and getting away with it. But he's dead now, and the truth dead with him. But at least I finally have my answers. Justice has been served.
And thus the mystery of the Absolution Day meeting is solved.
Thank you for telling us, Mike. I think this is all we can ask for from you.
Yeah, I'd say so too. In return, I'd like to ask something from you.
Sure. Anything at all.
If you can, please don't bring up Charlie in court. If he still takes the fall after Harvey confessed, then all you've done for me has been for naught.
I promise we'll do our best to respect your wish.
Thank you, Mr. Wright and Miss Fay. I'm grateful to have you by my side.
All right, Maya. Any ideas?
We could go see Dr. Siegfried. I mean, we still need to ask about Harvey's medication. And now that we know about the Helio 6 incident, I think it would be worthwhile to ask around the regiment.
Good call. I guess we're off to see the good doctor in that case.
Stay strong, Mike. Tomorrow all of this will be just a memory.
Alright. And we're back here.
But what does it mean? Damn it.
Dr. Siegfried didn't notice us enter. He seems to be deep in thought.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, do come in. Please excuse my absent-mindedness.
He shoved a bunch of papers he was reading into his desk drawer.
I've been expecting you here to crack the case, right?
That's one way of putting it.
I figured so. What can I do for you today?
We have some questions, and we think your medical expertise could help us.
Certainly. I will answer to the best of my ability.
Great. Let's start with Harvey's medication.
Go a little bit
I
further.
presume you mean his heart medication. That was the only long-term pharmaceutical he was on, after all.
Yes, exactly. Why did you change his prescription again?
The new drug was simply the better option of the two. The NNT was statistically lower in several long-term cohort studies, and it removed the heavy synergistic effects with certain pharmacological depressants.
Could you repeat that in non-doctor-ish?
It was better with less risks.
What kind of risks were there?
Well, every medication has its potential side effects and risks. Harvey's old heart medication was otherwise quite good, but it had unfortunate effects when cross-reacting with alcohol, as many drugs do. The new drug, Bradarine, or Ratemate, no longer had this cross-reactivity and was presumably more effective in treating his condition. The elimination time for both drugs is also similar, about 24 hours. However, now that you mention the side effects, suicidal thoughts and behavior had been reported in rare cases. I blame myself for not taking that into account after Harvey's change of behavior. Maybe I could have prevented all of this. Come to think of it, Miss Von Karma filed a request of Harvey's entire health history. She seemed quite adamant to find evidence to use in court, so it's only fair that you get to see it too.
Thanks, Doc. You're the best.
Fairness above all, remember? Now, let me get this blasted computer up and running for you. They always take such a long time to boot up. It's really frustrating to wait 10 minutes, even if it's for security reasons.
That's okay. In the meantime, I'd like to hear your opinion on the 2 suicide notes.
Of course, it is indeed quite peculiar that there would be 2 of them. I've been
Normally
thinking
you just
about
have
it.
one.
Perhaps he was trying to target 2 different audiences. It could have been that he was torn between what he wanted his final words to be. If so, then I'm glad he chose the noble way out in the end by apologizing.
Speaking of that note, do any of the names listed here mean anything to you?
November does. How is Mike doing, by the way?
He was decent enough when we met him. He told us a lot about these notes.
Really? What exactly did he tell you?
4 years ago, there was an incident in the Republic of Arisia that took the lives of many peacekeepers.
The Helio 6 incident. I see.
Hold on. How do you know about it?
Yeah, I thought the case
Didn't he
files
say he
were
told
classified.
everybody?
They were until the end of last month. A lot of people had been waiting to get their hands on them, myself included. If Mike trusts you enough to tell you about Helio 6, I shall have to do the same. I have the case file right here for you. Have a look if you wish.
Oh, that sounds almost too convenient.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, Nick.
Here you go.
No one's gonna read it? Really? I cannot read that fast. It's all gibberish to me. Yeah, I
Dr.
couldn't read it
Siegfried,
all.
your name, and Miss Victoria's.
Yes, they're right there in the file. As you can see, I did not learn about this incident from second-hand sources. I, too, am one of the few survivors of the Helios 6 incident. Field Surgeon Jason Siegfried, former member of the 1st Special Engineering, at your service. How do you do?
How? Why haven't you told us? This is crucial information!
Dear Miss Fay, this only became relevant once the incident was brought up. I have not been deliberately hiding this. Furthermore, it takes a great deal of trust to share something like this, especially so considering the current circumstances. However, if Mike trusts you, then I too shall trust you.
So this means that you and Lieutenant Victoria...
Yes, we are now the only living survivors of the Helios 6 incident, the sole guardians of the truth of that terrible event. But I'm sure you would love to hear all about it.
But Mike didn't mention either of you. He only spoke of Captain Harvey.
Mike doesn't know, and I would prefer keeping it that way.
He deserves to know, Doctor.
He does, but not yet. For now, he has way more pressing issues on his plate. By my honor and conscience, I vow to tell him after the trial. You two, however, need to hear this right away, so listen carefully.
Well, I'm going to pause it right there. Get you guys on the edge of your seats. So, this is part 1. It's actually getting really good. So, yeah. Hope you guys like the reaction, and have a nice day.